So, of course, people are going to hate my comment about what I said about how most black people vote on based on skin color. They do. Many black people voted for Obama because he's black. Many black people wanted Joe Biden in the House because he worked under Obama. And the same trickle effect happens every 4 years. They're trying to do it with Kamala Harris, although at times she doesn't act like she's for the community. She just does it for her benefit. And just throughout even all places like Baltimore, places in other areas like Chicago, Washington, people just, again, all of these cities are the most corrupt. California as well with Gavin Newsom. So it's Democrat cities, and that's the issue. And I was brainwashed too. I used to vote based on the color train. I used to vote all the time based on the color train until I woke my ass up 2 years ago and done some reading. And so now I'm not on the color train anymore. I'm on the policy train because that's what matters. And we keep talking about the same thing every 4 years about voting for that people, about representation and everything. And even the LSU situation with the girl who plays basketball. Now she's being invited to the White House to meet Jill Biden. This is why people don't want to watch sports anymore, because even sports has become politicized. Sports has become politicized. It's become too black, too this, too that. Like, people cannot just sit there and enjoy basketball without the whole mainstream wokeness that goes on in media. And so until you actually sit down and read and do some research about policy versus voting someone based on their skin complexion, we're not going to get anywhere in life. We're not. And that's the issue. What did Obama do for the black community? What did he do? Trump did way more than Obama did for the black community, okay? And so what I don't understand, actually I do understand because it's ignorance, is going to be the answer to this question. So it's a rhetorical question. What I don't understand, why do black folks actually listen to government and abide by government when literally government is the reason why division started, right? And so government, education, only teaching black and white slavery, just slavery. White people bought slaves, the British sold them for profit. Well, the Nigerians had slaves as well. Persians had slaves as well. And so it's just a constant triple effect. Even like the mayor, there's a mayor in my area who's she's black, a black lady. She's blaming this on Republicans and white folks and everything. I'm like, lady, your area is 60% black. Black people, gay liberals, and white liberals put you in office. It's your lack of leadership that's causing the issue. Black people have issues with you. And so I agree with Judge Joe Brown when he had an interview with Mark Lamont Hill, when Mark Lamont Hill asked him, was it racially motivated with Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman? He said, what's concerning about this is when it comes time to vote for the DA, when it comes time to vote for police officers, when it comes time to vote for local districts, people, his community, black folks don't want to go and vote to take out these so-called racist white judges that they're talking about. And so, again, I'm speaking the truth. That's what I do. I live in America, don't live in Russia, don't live in Iran, don't live in Afghanistan, don't live in Saudi Arabia. I live in America. So it's a free country. And automatically, like I made that post about most black folks doing this, automatically I'm going to be attached with the R word. Really, literally, I was at Walmart yesterday, had a conversation with someone that was black about it, and automatically he goes into, well, what are you? Like, he goes into the racist thing, as opposed to actually what you're saying is fact-based, it's fact-based. And so that's the issue. And it's not just that community. It's my community as well. They're brainwashed too. Their whole thing is about the racism bullshit. But in reality, when I speak to them, they're pro-life. They're fiscally conservative. They don't believe in minimum wage. They don't like the IRS. They really don't like the government simply because of what's going on. But they simply vote Democrat specifically because, just the media targeting them, so-called Islamophobia. During the whole 9/11 situation, New York was highly profiled. And the Iraq war and everything. I'm like, dude, forget all of that stuff. Like, why are you worrying about that? That stuff doesn't even matter. You're successful. It doesn't even matter. Racism is never going to be eradicated. It's always going to be here. And so, but they're not like leftists. They're not. They're just they're just ignorant when it comes to politics because they work so much and they really don't have time to read American policy. And so 5 to 10 years down the line, instead of the black community being number one with farless absence, the Latino community is going to be number one with farless absence because we're continuously allowing illegal immigrants to come here, to go to California, to get papers so easily, and so they can have the same access that natural-born Americans have. Now, in other states, like in Texas and in Louisiana, those states are really hard to get papers because they're conservative states. However, when they breed here, when they procreate here, those same children who don't have papers are allowed to go to school, are allowed to spend money on your state taxes and your federal taxes. And that's what pisses conservatives off. And I can see their point because they're here illegally on illegal grounds, and they get 100% the same benefits that you get: a car, an education, public library access, PO boxes access, all of that stuff that you have, rent, electricity, despite not having a citizenship. And this is why when Democrats got so offended because they could not presented an electricity bill to go vote, it's because illegal immigrants have electricity bills. Okay, an electricity bill does not prove that you're an American citizen at all, because a lot of y'all don't think. And so that's the reason why. And so saying that you need an ID, a voting ID, is not racist. You need a voting ID to rent a car. You need an ID to buy a drink. You need an ID to get into the club, to get into the bar. You need an ID to go to the airport to travel, statewide or overseas with a passport. So you need a whole bunch of stuff. But the ignorant community wants to say it's racist. It's racist. No, it's not racist. You need to prove that you're a citizen. You need to prove that you are a citizen of the United States. And so I'm just tired of the ignorance. Like I was brainwashed too, so I kind of get how people still feel because, again, the R word is so emotionally attached. It's like, R word. But the R word gets you nowhere. Racism gets you nowhere, just constantly saying racism, okay? The issue is, I'll tell you what the issue is. If you want to go there, like I wrote in my post, the most discriminatory community, the community that faces the most discrimination is the Arab community, is the Middle Eastern community. For so many years, the military has been in Afghanistan, all of that South Asia. But for so many years, the military has been in Iraq, the military has been in Palestine, the military has been in other places. But the thing is, Arab folks, the difference between Arab folks and black folks, Nigerian folks and black folks, Asian folks and black folks, is the culture is conservative. It's collective. They stick together. They own businesses. And they ride a train of the economical standpoint that this country has compared to others, despite knowing the history about the country. But again, it's not about the whole, let me play victim. It's about, I'm going to have kids. My kids are going to have kids. My grandkids are going to have kids. Let me leave a legacy for my kids. And so when they're alive, this place will be more, it'll be evolving in a better area from where I stood. And that's the long term. You guys just so stuck on the short term. Racism this, racism that, yada, 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 yada. It's like sex before dating. People just want to have sex before they date, as opposed to date someone and get to know them to build up greater sex. It's the exact same thing. It's exactly what I'm trying to say. And so that's the issue that black folks have. That's the issue. They're so stuck on the R word, literally stuck on the R word. And you're not going to move the needle forward if you're going to continuously be stuck on the R word. And if the R word actually exists, if the reason why the R word exists, but not as big as you think it is. But if the R word exists for minorities, then Nigerians come to this country would not be doing so well. Asian people would not be making 12 cents more than $1 compared to white folks. That would not exist. And so those facts don't get put out there on mainstream leftist media because that goes against the narrative of the whole white black person slavery. No, white folks didn't only have slaves. Black folks had slaves too. Persians had slaves too. But the school system, because I went to college and in high school, I took world history honors. They only stuck to the narrative of the Atlantic slave trade, what the white people did. They never ever talked about Nigerians or other folks in Africa having slaves because that goes against the narrative. The government wants to keep people divided. That's the problem. The government wants to divide folks. The government wants people to hate each other. That's the government, and school is regulated by government. And that's the issue. It's meant to be that way. By curriculum, it's meant to be that way. School is just making it a white and black thing when literally it was a black on black thing. It was an olive skin on a black thing. It was not just one way. But the school system, again, wants to divide. And this is why I don't trust the school systems anymore. This is why I don't trust the medical systems, from the pandemic. And I don't trust a lot of things that the government say, I just finished watching the Marjorie Taylor Greene interview, and then I watched The View talking about it, and then they're going to chastise the journalist who interviewed her. The journalist that interviewed her went in on her, questioned her really well. I highly doubt they watched that interview. I watched 13 minutes of it. There's more on the website that I have to watch. And so what I like about Marjorie Taylor Greene, at least she shows me who she is. At least she tells me her thoughts. The people that need to be really questioned are the fucked up politicians like the Joe Bidens, the Obamas, the Clintons, and all the rest of them. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she speaks her mind. And I respect anyone, no matter what party you are, that speaks your mind. She definitely speaks her mind. And I respect that. I don't have to agree with every single thing this woman says, although I do agree about the leftist part being pedophiles. I agree with that 100% when she said that. 9/11 being a hoax, I agree with that 100%. That was an inside job, but in terms of Christianity being the only religion, I mean, if that's her view, that's her view. I really don't care. I mean, she can have that view. I don't have to agree or disagree with it. That's her view. That's her view. But she's right on some things, and I agree with her on some of the things that she say because it's true. And so those people I have respect for, because if I have to dig and find out who you really are, and it's not translating to your public persona on camera, for example, Joe Biden, then I have no respect for you whatsoever. And so I like her. I actually like the girl. I have no issues with her. I don't think she's a conspiracy theorist at all. I don't think she is. That's a lie. I mean, literally they're calling her a conspiracy theorist towards the end of the interview. This interview is sponsored by Pfizer. I'm like, okay, now I'm turned off. What a lot of people are doing behind closed doors are the same shit that she's saying publicly, but at least she has the cojones to come out and say shit publicly, as opposed to people being fucking rats behind closed doors and doing the same shit she's saying, she's spouting. And so I respect a man or a woman who comes forward with their beliefs versus some puppet that is being puppeteered, like Joe Biden being puppeteered by the leftist liberals. He's a so-called centrist, but he's all the way to the left. He's managing this place like a left. And it's just becoming too dangerous and too racism and too racial and blah, 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 and discrimination. It's not just the white discrimination. Black folks discriminate against other people too. I've been through it. I've been discriminated against black folks. There's racial bias in the black community, and people don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about that. And so anyways, if you don't get anything out this video, just do some research. Do some reading, figure out why black folks changed from Republican to Democrat, before Civil Rights Act of 1964. Figure out why. And after why it happened, why they did that. And since then, it's just continuously been the same thing. And nothing great has happened since then, for them. So that's my whole mantra on that. Free advice to you. And I love me some Candace Owens. She's really smart. And I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.